A jury finds Ilya Zinov guilty of a shooting in Hyannis. Police continue to crack down on the sale of heroin, and Town Council approves repairs to 3 herring runs. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, April 22nd, 2014. I'm Sarah Mantle. Ilya Zinov is behind bars awaiting sentencing. A jury found Zinov guilty of a 2011 shooting in Hyannis. Police Chief Paul McDonald says he was pleased with that verdict.
It was an 8-day trial. It goes back to a case that happened in January 2011 with a shooting down at Ying's on Center Street in Hyannis. We shot a gentleman named John Lopes. The trial started. Mr. Lopes was on the stand for approximately 2 days. The defense called no witnesses. When it was all said and done, the jury found Mr. Zinov guilty of all 4 charges, which is a great victory for everyone.
McDonald says Zinov will be charged as an armed career criminal because of his extensive record.
He does have at least 2 other violent past incidents in his past, so we are also going to charge him as an armed career criminal, which means he could face a minimum mandatory of 10 years just on that. That hearing has been postponed. It's scheduled for the 28th of February. I do know his defense attorney is trying to change the venue out of Barnstable and move it someplace else, but he's facing probably somewhere in the area of 15 to 25 years for the assault with intent to murder, so he should be going away for quite some time.
McDonald says criminals like Zinov have forced the Barnstable Police Department to change the way they investigate crimes.
Yeah, we changed the way we patrol. We created street crime units just to deal with individuals such as Mr. Zinov. He was extremely young. He was extremely violent. He had no value in human life. He would shoot anyone just to look at them. So this is a great victory for us. We know he's been responsible for at least 6 to 8 shootings in our town.
Last night, police responded to a domestic disturbance on Camera Road.
Once the police officers arrived, there was a male individual on the ground. He had obviously been shot by some type of object. It turned out to be a pellet gun, but this particular incident, the pellet gun actually penetrated and it struck the spleen. He is at Cape Cod Hospital now, and he is still involved in surgery. So it's a significant injury. His girlfriend, Tara Sunderland, has been arrested and is being charged as we speak.
Police are also investigating a stabbing that took place outside the quarterdeck early this morning.
The original call came in this morning at approximately 1:30 this morning to the parking lot to the rear of the quarterdeck lounge. Apparently there was a verbal argument going on outside between a couple of female patrons. A concerned patron from inside the bar went outside, tried to mediate it, tried to break it up. When he did that, he was jumped by several different individuals, and he was stabbed a number of times in his back. He is at Cape Cod Hospital now, and he has undergone surgery. We do not think the injury is going to be fatal, but he has some significant injuries also. We do have one individual here under arrest for unrelated charges, but we do believe he's also involved in that. So the process is going to slow down a little bit. Everybody's here at the station right now working on it.
McDonald says they are investigating the incident and believe they have the perpetrator in custody.
We're trying to identify the individual with the knife. We believe we have isolated that individual. We believe we do have him in custody, but we're going to wait. Now that we have him, we don't have to rush into it right now.
McDonald says they will take their time with that investigation. Concerned Hyannis residents met with Chief McDonald last week following an armed home invasion on Keating Road late last month. McDonald says the meeting was helpful.
It was a huge crowd, 50 to 55 individuals showed up. They were concerned about the armed home invasion on Keating Road. Back on March 28th, we tried to answer as many questions as we possibly could. Unfortunately, that is a random event, and I think that's what got everyone upset and concerned for their safety. But this is such a rare occurrence, and the reassuring thing is that all 3 individuals involved in that, all 3 have been arrested. They're all being held on very, very high bail. We are in the process now of building a case against them. So I think it went well. I think I know there's a lot of media coverage out there about what we do. We have media outlets actually following our cruisers around, but overall, the crime in town of Barnstable is down significantly.
McDonald says the police department is also working to crack down on the distribution of heroin.
We had 26 overdoses since January 1st. We have stepped up our enforcement, and last week the Narcotics Division, they executed 5 search warrants, and they arrested a total of 18 individuals over a 6-day period for distribution and trafficking in narcotics, particularly heroin. So we are trying to do our part on the enforcement level to stem the tide of this huge problem in town of Barnstable.
McDonald says the department will continue that focus and remain vigilant when it comes to the distribution of heroin. Town Council approves 3 projects that will update herring runs in town. Barnstable Department of Public Works Director Dan Santos says the renovations will be important in maintaining herring populations.
As we've been presenting the capital program to the Town Council over the last few weeks, last Thursday we started presenting the general fund projects, and a couple of those were involving herring runs, and the council saw fit to approve those projects. And there were 2 projects that deal with 3 particular runs. The first one is the run that goes from Middle Pond in Marston's Mills to the Marston's Mills River, and it's a man-made run that's probably 120 years old, and it was originally put in to get around the bogs, because the bogs are on that system, and obviously the herring can't, move through the bog system. So they put in this man-made run back then, and ever since it's been repaired and fixed and hobbled along, and it's really just like a 1-foot wide wooden-sided flume. It's about 1,100 feet, and it takes a huge volunteer effort every year to kind of prop it back up and keep it put together. So the project we're doing there is a pretty significant project. It's almost $400,000 in reconstructing that entire flume in that area, which is pretty exciting because the herring fishery and the herring have been under unbelievable pressure throughout the last century due to overdevelopment and overfishing, loss of habitat. So now it's really great that the council approved this, because it's going to help them and enable them to move in great numbers in that system.
Santos says it is important to keep herring populations strong because they are an essential part of the food chain.
The herring were running long before humans were here. I mean, it's just been millennia that this has been going on, and it's been such a cultural and historic and economic factor on the Cape for so long. So the loss of that is really tragic. So projects like this and others in other towns across the Cape are really doing a lot to help bring the numbers
Santos
back.
says regulations on fishing for herring have also helped the population rebound. Santos says 2 other projects were also approved by Town Council to help local herring runs.
So the other 2 projects are for this year will be design. The last one was designing and construction. This one is designing replacement structures and facilities at Mill Pond at the intersection of Route 149 and Route 28. On the pond there's a dam and a fish ladder and a number of structures that have really fallen into disrepair and almost to the point where it's dangerous. A lot of people like to go down there and look at the herring, and there's fences, and a lot of it's propped up by rocks, and so that we're going to replace that whole dam and ladder system there.
Sure.
And then the final project is on Long Pond in Centerville. There's a run that goes to the Centerville River. Ultimately, they move to Long Pond, then they move up, and their final destination is Lake Pequawket. So this is vital in that path.
Santos says he was glad to see Town Council support the herring run restoration projects. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long program Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll learn more about the Love Earth Fest taking place Sunday, April 27th. We'll talk with Finance Director Mark Milne, and we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.